Today we're going to talk about China's exit ban system. Think of it as a one-way gate, one you might not even know is there until you hear it slam shut behind you. Okay, just picture this for a second. You're at the airport, passport in hand, ready to fly home. You walk up to the immigration counter, and the officer just looks at you and says, "You're forbidden from leaving the country." And that's it. No explanation. Now, this isn't some random mix-up. It's not a mistake. It's a system, and it's working exactly as it was designed to. So the big question is, how on earth does this system actually work? So let's dive right in. The first thing you have to get your head around is this. We're not talking about a kidnapping or some shadowy, off-the-books detention. This is the formal, intended result of an official legal system. And that right there, that is the heart of the issue. In China, these exit bans aren't some rare, extreme measure saved for spies or master criminals. Nope, they've become a routine, almost everyday administrative tool that authorities use to exert control. So you're probably asking, how is that even possible? Well, let's take a look at how the law itself can be used as a weapon. We've got to understand the legal architecture that actually builds this cage. The power to do this comes from a handful of really key laws. You've got laws covering everything from entry and exit to criminal procedure and national security. Now, on paper, they're supposed to be for major criminal or civil cases, but in practice, well, their application is much, much broader. But here's the real kicker. These laws, they are written to be incredibly broad. They're vague on purpose. And that ambiguity, that's the whole point. It gives the authorities this massive amount of discretionary power, letting them trap people who haven't even been charged with a crime. So let's be really clear about what an exit ban is. It's an administrative measure, which is a bureaucratic way of saying it completely bypasses the justice system. It needs no judge, no trial, and a lot of the time, no clear reason is ever given. There's no set time limit, and, like we said, victims almost always find out the hard way. At the airport, bags already packed. To really bring this home, let's walk through a case study of a European executive. Let's explore that exact moment when a person realizes they've become a hostage. So here's a pretty typical scenario. It starts with something that sounds mundane, like a business dispute with a local partner. The executive, who hasn't been arrested or charged with anything, tries to fly home. At passport control, they're simply told, "Exit denied." The only reason given is that their cooperation in an investigation is required. And just like that, they're stranded, indefinitely. This quote from someone who went through it, it says it all. "The moment I understood I was a hostage, everything changed." Can you imagine that psychological shift? It's profound. Your negotiating power instantly drops to zero. You're no longer a party in a legal dispute. You are a pawn. This comparison here does a brilliant job of showing the legal black hole people fall into. I mean, think about a regular criminal proceeding, right? You get a formal charge, a public trial, a lawyer, a fixed sentence, and you can appeal. With an exit ban? None of that. The legal basis is just a vague need for cooperation. There's zero due process. The duration is indefinite. And an appeal? Well, that's effectively impossible. So who actually gets trapped by this system? As we're about to see, the targets are a much broader group than you could possibly imagine. Of course, you see foreign executives in civil disputes, like the case we just talked about, but it's also accountants and other key personnel at foreign companies. It's wealthy Chinese citizens who the government thinks might be trying to move their money abroad. It's even people who are just tangentially linked to local government scandals. Honestly, it can be anyone considered a potential witness in any case. The list is all over the place, but the one thing all these people have in common is startlingly simple. Someone in a position of power, whether it's a local official, a state-owned company, or a well-connected business rival, would be inconvenienced if they left the country. And often, that's all it takes. Now, this has a massive chilling effect, not just on individuals, but on the country as a whole. So let's zoom out and look at the long-term consequences of a nation's eroding trust. You know, foreign companies are not blind to this. They are actively adapting. Executives get sent on short-term rotations instead of long-term assignments. It's becoming standard practice for families not to relocate with them. And this is a big one. Key decision-making authority is being moved outside of mainland China. Exit ban risk is now literally a line item in corporate strategy. And this isn't just a problem for foreigners. China's own skilled professionals and elites are reacting too. There's this growing belief that anyone can be trapped for any reason. This fosters a real desire to leave while it's still possible and, a deep loss of faith in the state's reliability, which absolutely kills any incentive for long-term planning. The source material for this analysis offers a really powerful way to reframe this entire system. It argues this isn't about deterrence, it's about credit destruction. It systematically destroys the trust and credibility that are absolutely essential for a modern economy and a stable society to even function.
And the long-term damage is immense. The system accelerates brain drain as the best and brightest look for the exit. It chills foreign investment as companies become more and more risk-averse. And internally, it just spreads this toxic culture of silence and suspicion.
So, ultimately, what does this all mean? The source leaves us with this final, profound thought. When law is used not as a shield to protect, but as a cage to confine, a society quietly breaks. And that leaves us with a pretty serious question. What is the true cost of a system where the gate only swings one way?